Turning a vintage house into a haunted house is our topic on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hello everyone. All right, so with Halloween coming up around the corner, I'm going to show you how we could take this beautiful vintage house that my co-host Angela Andrew photographed and turn it into like a spooky haunted house. All right, and what this is going to teach us is not only just how to convert to black and white, but notice we're going to add rain, and we're going to add another set of clouds, and we'll also add some lightning. So it's going to teach us how to use layer-like effects inside Luminar AI. All right, so let's get started. Right from here, I want to right-click, and under Adjustments, I want to revert back to the original image. So here comes the original. Now, to get a more perspective, I do want to start with the crop. All right, so we'll start with Composition AI, and let's see what it recommends. All right, not bad. I don't want these pillars involved, so let's crunch or tighten it up just a little bit. I like the S-curve here, bringing into the house. All right, that looks good. And we'll commit that change. All right, good. Now, to make life so much easier, let's come over to templates. And what we're gonna do is I did use maximum black and white. Now, it doesn't matter. From here, we can actually start by using our own black and white. But me personally, I like to start with a template just to get me started. And let's see, we'll use black and white. All right, here we go, standard maximum black and white effect. There we go. All right, so we converted it to black and white. Now, if you don't have that template, that's okay. Just come over here to your black and white tool, and this is where you'll convert the image to black and white. And I just chose that template because it does add a little bit of structure, which is good. And under the light tool, let's add some super contrast, which it did. And look at this. So these are things I normally would do anyways. And so it came out and did it for me. All right, so we're off to a good start. So we got the image looking like a black and white here, right? Now that I have that set, I have a couple options. The sky's actually looking pretty good. Earlier I did replace it, but for now let's just leave it with the sky that we have here. Now what I want to do is come over to the local masking. I'm going to add a texture, and let's add some rain. So I'm going to click on texture, and I was able to download some of these rain, or this rain right here, from Gary McIntyre. And we'll make sure we put that in the description below. Now you can find rain almost anywhere, but under this here, we did get this from Gary McIntyre. And once again, the link will be in the description below. So I have the rain set, but you know what though? I want the rain to come in from a different direction. There we go. And I can decide how much of the opacity I want to shine through. Now notice here, this is what it looks like. All right. So to get that effect we're looking for, we're going to click on Advanced Settings, and under the blend mode, we have a choice. We're going to come through, and we'll cycle through the different ones we have until we land on one that we like. Typically, soft light and hard light work pretty well. So here's soft light, and then I can dial it back a bit. If I want the effect to be stronger, I could just come back in here and put it to normal, but then take the opacity and dial that back a bit. I think that's what I'll do instead. All right, so now that we have, right about here, now that we have the rain coming in, I could further enhance it by placing it, and then maybe, look where this rain is, maybe rotate it slightly There we go. And then lock that into place. All right, good. So now that I have the rain coming in, what I want to do next is add a little bit of that lightning off to the side. This is where we'll come back to the Augmented Skies. So with Augmented Skies, I'll click on the object selection, and then from here, I'll look through, and here we are with lightning, and a lot of these have already come with Luminar AI. So let's click on the lightning here, give it a second, and what we're going to do is once we add that lightning, we're going to help it, let it relight the scene for us. So once the lightning comes in, and we'll know it's working, it's thinking while this is illuminating. And I'll place the object right over here. And actually, you know what? There we go. We want to take this, the amount even greater. So I'm going to apply it right here. Now I did notice something. The order that I did this in, let's come back up here and let's add the rain to the end. All right. So I'm going to come back up to the tools. Oh, I'm sorry, to our brush here. I'm going to hide this for a moment. There we go. And I'm going to come back again. To my Augmented Sky. Here we are. All right, so now the Augmented Sky isn't appearing the way I want it to. So let's see where the relighting is here. That's fine. You know what it may be? Because I did use a different sky, so it's there. So let's say place order, or the object rather. So we know that the Augmented Sky is there. So the problem is it's not being seen. So let's put it right there, place it. And I'm going to come up to sky, and I want to select more of a nighttime sky. Nope, let's pick dramatic sunset. Here we go. Let's try this. Give it a second to change. And there it comes. There we go. All right, so the lightning is not appearing. This is interesting. So let's go back to Augmented Sky. Let's choose a different lightning and see if that appears. So this is good that this is happening live. Awkward, but it's good. So we could troubleshoot real quick. Oh, there it is. So that other one that I picked wasn't bright enough to appear into the sky. So now that we have this one, we'll readjust it. There we go. That's much better. And I can zoom out a little bit. Now, if I pull from the center here and drag up, it's going to distort the lightning. So I want to grab one of the handles and drag the handle. Notice I'm actually off the actual image, which is fine. Look at that. Now that's what we're looking for. Lock it in, and let's zoom back in. There we have it. All right. So we added the lightning in. We had the light. We had the house itself, but it appears a little bit too bright for me. So let's come over here to film grain. And now don't mistake film grain for digital noise. Because what we're really, I'm going to crank it all the way up just so you can see. And we need to zoom into 100% just to see the effect. Digital noise is something totally different from film grain. Film grain, we're actually purposely adding little dots of grain to the image, because look what it's doing for us. It's giving us that little old vintage type look, all right? And I can just select the size and the roughness of it, which is fine. But notice how that's just adding a little more texture to it, and it's giving us that older look. And look how that made the image look a little bit darker. All right, so we have film grain in. Now, while we're at it, let's come back over here to the local masking, and let's turn back on the rain. There we go. Now that we have the rain, and notice we have one layer or one local mask here, let's add another texture. And this time, again, you could download this with Gary McIntyre's collection. Let's add cobwebs. So I'm going to add a cobweb to the scene. And once I have it, let's place it. Now that cobweb is huge, so I'm going to scale it way down. And again, notice the background of the cobwebs are black. What I want to do is I want to place it right over here. It's one giant spider. Bring it back in. Here we go. And place it. Now, that looks totally out of place. So what we're going to do is change the layer blend mode. And again, cycle through which one looks better. And typically, like I said, either overlay, soft light. And in this case, because it's black, let's come up here and we'll change slightly. Here we go. Let's try multiply. Or let's keep it normal. Let's see what that does. All right, as it's building in, what we're going to do is we're going to change the opacity here to 100%. Looking like. Let's give it a second. There we go. There we go. Now, from here, multiply is not working. So let's turn it to the blend mode. Will change that back to normal. So that my system is bogging down. So let's give it a couple seconds. Actually, let me hide my face and give us a little more system resources. There we go. There's normal, darken, lighten. Here we go. Let's go with lighten. And let's dial that back down. There we go. Now we got it. Good. And there we have it. All right. So, again, we end up, let me move it back up a little bit. Right there. Perfect. All right. So there we have it. We started with a nice looking Victorian house. And then with a little creativity, we're able to change it to make it look like a spooky haunted house. Great for the holiday or for the Halloween season. Well, guys, I'm Vanelli. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.